Hey, greetings everyone. Daniel Lowrie here with Antisyphon Training, and today we're going to talk about virtualization. Actually, you're going to try to answer a few questions about virtualization that you may have if you're new to the IT cybersecurity space. And that is like, what is virtualization? What types of virtualization do I need to be familiar with? And what are some of the vendors out there that could possibly be what I put my hands on and mess around with when it comes to virtualization? Let's start there at the tippy top, right? Which is, what is virtualization? That's a great question. You are smart and astute to ask that one. And it's basically a software PC, right? I have a PC that's got all sorts of resources on it, but they're not being utilized all the time. My CPU isn't always at 100%. Hopefully not anyway. That would be bad. I don't always use up all of my RAM. Again, a scenario of which I don't wish to get into. So I have extra. It's just sitting there lying around for when I need it. But what if I said, you know what? I want to build a software-based PC that has access to those resources so they kind of run as an extra PC and share between my host OS. That could be awesome. And that's what virtualization basically is. You might hear the term virtual machine. That's what we mean. That's that software PC that you build and use using that virtualization software. So really cool stuff. I know I like it. I utilize it all the time. It's great for all sorts of stuff. And we'll get into what it's great for here in just a second. But first, you got to answer that question of what types of virtualization is out there, right? That's the question. Well, there's two types that you need to be aware of, type 1 and type 2. Type 1, or we're going to use the word because it's out there and you're going to run into it, hypervisors. Fancy term for virtualization. You have a type 1 hypervisor, you have type 2 hypervisors. Let's start with those type 1s. That type 1 hypervisor is going to be that virtualization software, right? But instead of being something that runs as an application, it's going to be baked into the DNA of your host operating system, and it's going to run on the bare metal, on the actual physical PC hardware or server hardware, as it were. And I say server because this is typically utilized in large-scale operations because they need large-scale virtualization. This ain't no mom-and-pop shop, right? This is the big dogs that are out there, the enterprises, the large orgs of the world, cloud providers. Anyone that needs a decent-sized virtual environment is probably going to go with a type 1 hypervisor because that's where it's useful. That's where it really pays the bills, as it were. Maybe you need a decent-sized home lab. You could be pushing over into the idea of needing a type 1 hypervisor. That's going to be up to you to figure out whether you need that or not. So, what are some of the pros and cons of type 1s? Well, great question, because there are both. There's some really good pros, though, right? Let's start off with performance. It's fast. It's a Ferrari. It's a race car. Because it's tuned and built to do one thing, run virtual. We like that. Make virtual machines, let them run. That's what we like. Also, because that's what it's meant to do, it's most likely going to be able to be highly scalable. You're going to slap it full. This server is going to be so full of resources so that you can run things like other servers. So that hypervisor is just there to facilitate the ability for you to make virtual servers. And stability. It's got a lot of stability. Because you're not really doing anything else with it, it's just fine-tuned to be a virtual environment. It's going to be very, very stable for the most part. Now, it does have some cons. We're going to start with the big one, complexity. It is going to most likely be very complex. That's just the name of the game when it comes to enterprise things. So what are you going to do, right? It's neither here nor there. We just got to deal with it. And that is what's up. So complex when it comes to setup. It's going to be complex when it comes to configuration. It's going to be complex when it comes to management. The vendors out there do what they can to make it less complex, but just be prepared to strap on a helmet and ride the ride with Mr. Toad, because that's what's going on. And then, of course, there's another big con. That's cost. It's going to run you a little bit of the do-re-mi, if you know what I mean, before you're able to ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in that virtualization environment. Okay, so there's your type 1. Now, I want to go ahead and jump into some vendors that make type 1 hypervisors so that you're familiarized with them. Let's see what we got. I'll go into my PC here. First one on the block here is VMware. And they make this vSphere business. Baked inside the vSphere is going to be your ESXi. That's their virtualization hypervisor, their type 1 hypervisor. vSphere is kind of the overarching management and everything, and vSphere, not vSphere, the ESXi kind of is under the hood of vSphere. But it's a great option. A lot of people love it. It's very popular. It's had some sketchy history in the background, but I think right now everybody still is okay with it. But they're not the only game in town. If you're a Microsoft shop, you might want to go Hyper-V. It's kind of baked into some of the operating systems that they have there, specifically their server, and some of the Windows desktops as well, I think. But they also have the Hyper-V server 2019 that's available. You can go grab that ISO and get it installed. So maybe if you have a server laying around, you want to play around with Hyper-V, you like Microsoft, it's your bread and butter, could be a way to go. We also have Zen Server. Another very popular option that's been around for quite some time. I believe now it's being called Citrix Hypervisor. I think that's the new terminology that they're calling it. But you might see both. So I went ahead and grabbed Zen Server because that's probably what most people are familiar with. Then you have this one here. Big fan. I love this. You really want to dip your toe in the Type 1 hypervisor waters? Proxmox might be the way to go about it because it's FOSS, free and open source software. I love free and open source software. Get yourself a nice PC, slap it full of RAM and storage, get a good processor that has lots of cores, that kind of stuff, put it on a fast network. This could be great for building a home lab and even running small to medium-sized businesses. So really cool, really good stuff. You might want to play around with that. So that brings us to the end of our Type 1 hypervisors. Hopefully you're understanding what that is at this point, and you're scratching your head going, well, Daniel, you got this whole Type 1 thing going on. Seems like it's the bee's knees. This seems like it's the cat's pajamas. You got performance, you called it a Ferrari. What is this Type 2 business of which you speak? Well, honestly, it's the thing I work with mostly. If I want to build a home lab, I'm usually working with the Type 2 hypervisor. Now, the difference between the Type 1 and Type 2, or one of the main differences anyway, is that Type 2, instead of being baked into that operating system, it's just going to be another software app that runs on top of the operating system. So you're running Windows, great. You don't want to go with Hyper-V, maybe that's baked in. You want to go with something else. Well, I want to download that software package, I want to install it, and I'm going to run it, and that's where I'm going to get that option to be able to work with virtualization. That's your Type 2. You might hear it be called or referred to as hosted virtualization or hosted hypervisor. Really cool, and it's got a lot of pros to it, right? There's pros and cons to everything. You just have to figure out what's right for you. Let's go through that pro and con list really quickly. Pros, easy peasy, chef's kiss. You get it installed, nothing to it. Next your way through the installation, and you're good to go, right? Setup, fairly easy as well. You might want to play around with some networking options, but for the most part, it's fairly simple to go ahead and just dive right in and get to working with it. Not a lot of setup involved. Configuration, again, there might be a few bells and whistles, some checkboxes you might need to check or dials you need to turn, but for the most part, these things are ready to go, turnkey, out of the box. That makes it very user-friendly, and that's a good thing. We like user-friendly. I know I do. I don't know about you, but I do. That's a big deal for this guy. But it's not without its problems, right? Not without its cons list. And here we go. Performance. It can be, now they can run just fine, but the performance is probably not going to be as awesome as what you see in like a Type 1 hypervisor. So you have to make sure that you take that into account when you're guessing or doing your work on what you're going to go with Type 1 or Type 2. It also has it's not as scalable, right? That's the fact of it. You're running it on a laptop, you're running it on a desktop PC, and for most people, they're running like 8 gigs of RAM. They're having like a 500 gig hard drive, maybe a terabyte, maybe 2. If you're a real tech geek and you love that stuff, maybe you've beefed up your stuff. But a lot of people are just working with, because of, hey, it can be costly to put all those resources inside of a laptop or a desktop. Maybe I ain't got that kind of money. What do I look like? John D. Rockefeller to you? So if I don't have that money, I got something. I'm working with less resources. So the performance goes down, the scalability goes down, and I can also introduce some instability because I'm working with that operating system. I'm installing other software applications. I'm doing other things. I'm surfing the web. And that can lead to some instability with my actual virtual machines that I've built. Hardware compatibility is another thing you got to worry about. If you are running things like Apple Silicon, you got to make sure that your hypervisor supports that. If it doesn't, well, you're going to have a bad time. You got to find one that does. So just keep that in mind, that not all hardware is created equal when it comes to what your hypervisor supports. Honestly, that's a con to the Type 1 hypervisor as well. So just keep that in mind. So there we go. Now, just like I did before, we have a few vendors out there. Let's take a look at what they have to offer us. So moving over from Proxmox, we're back to VMware. Look at that. VMware is trying to leave you with something. They want you to be able to mess around with virtualization. They have a Type 2 hypervisor. They actually have two. One's called Fusion. The other's called Workstation. And the cool thing about this is that they are both free. One is for Mac, and that's going to be your Fusion. And then you got Workstation Pro for PC. So if you're running Windows or Linux, that's what you're going to go with here. Really cool. I like that a lot. I'm actually running it right now. This is VMware Workstation. And you can see I've got a Kali Linux box up and running. And it's got all the bells and whistles that I like to see. It's got a lot of options. Things like I can mount virtual disks. I can import other or export virtual machines. I can work with the virtual network and give it different networking capabilities. I have the ability to go into the VMs. I can do things like snapshots and make sure that if I have it just set just right, and I know I'm going to go play around with something that might break things, I can take a snapshot so that I can revert back to that in case things go wrong. Lots of great options, and this is a Type 2 hypervisor. You'll see I've got a few things going on here, like a Windows server. You can see I'm giving this one 8 gigabytes of memory. I've got 4 processors. I've given a 100 gig hard drive and access to a network. Very cool stuff, very useful for doing that home lab stuff. And that's what I've got here. Basically, this is my lab environment. But that is one of the Type 2, and this is VMware. Over here at Antisyphon and BHIS, this is kind of our Type 2 hypervisor of choice, so I highly recommend it if you have the means. And since it's free, you do. So that should be a lot of fun. But they're not the only game in town. We also have VirtualBox. And VirtualBox has been around a while. They have been a tried and true, another free option out there for you. So don't sleep on VirtualBox. It might be your virtual environment of choice, your hypervisor, as it were, of choice. Got a lot of pros to it and has been, like I said, been around a long time. Sometimes it works better with different hardware than you might get with VMware. You never know. I do know that you can do like Apple virtualization. So if you wanted to virtualize some of the Mac OS operating systems, you might be able to do that here with this VirtualBox from Oracle. And then, of course, if you are on that Apple platform, you might want to go with Parallels, right? This is very cool. So run Windows application on your Mac effortlessly, easy, powerful, seamless. It does have a little bit of a cost to it, $100 a year. But if you break that down, that's not too bad. So it is a low cost option for you if you are running Mac OS and you want to get that Parallels. So again, options out there. I want just to point you toward them. You pick what you need for you and what you do. It's a one-size-fits-one solution. We all have different needs and wants, and now you have some options to go play around with. Well, hopefully that has given you the answer to the questions that we posed at the beginning of this episode and that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. Antisyphon is always trying to put free stuff out there for you. We've got Pay What You Can training. We've got John Strand's SOC core skills, all sorts of fun stuff. You got to just dig around in our YouTube channel. Definitely a lot of free and useful resources going on out there. That's there for you. So please avail yourself of them. You just got to go. Let your mouse do the walking, right? We also have some socials. Join us on those. There's Discord. We have live events all the time. So come and join us over at Antisyphon, see what we're up to, and maybe we've got something interesting for you. That said, I'm going to call it a day, but we got more to come in this virtualization series. So look forward to seeing you there. Until then, have a great day.